Hello everybody, my name is Ray. Welcome to the Evangelical Dark Web. Today we'll be talking about David Platt's church, McLean Bible Church, being sued by members of its congregation. And if you are a wonk for congregationalist church polity, this video is for you. That's just a fancy way of saying if you're a Baptist, because you guys are congregationalist. So this comes down to an issue of nominating pastors or elders and ordaining them and accepting them as a church. So this is a common practice, a common point of division in many congregationalist congregations. And we most recently saw that, or not most recently, but this was most apparent during the First Baptist Church, Naples, Florida, whereby Kevin Ezell and J.D. Greer tried to ramrod Marcus Hayes, who's a woke pastor, in as the senior pastor of First Baptist Church, Naples, Florida, which was a mega church in its own right. And when that vote failed, they slandered the people who dissented as racist because they didn't want a black pastor, even though he was clearly woke. So this is a similar type of situation. And the similarities are that this has to do with nominating 3 elders to the church, adding 3 elders to the church. And they wanted to do this as a ticket, like a slate, where you vote on all 3 at once, which kind of makes it seem like it's a package deal. So that's kind of how the church was doing it. And there was a business meeting on June 30th where this apparently did not succeed. And so during a worship service, they had a business meeting and tried to elect these 3 elders as official ordained officers of that church, which is bizarre. That is bizarre, to conduct a business meeting during a worship service. And I guess what the lawsuit is alleging is that, well, the lawsuit is alleging that McLean Bible Church violated their own constitution, their own constitutional bylaws, in preventing certain members from voting. And if you look at it, there's also a bizarre video that Capstone Report published on their YouTube channel that shows someone trying to raise a point of order during a business meeting, during this business meeting that's during a worship service, which is, again, odd. And they are being rejected. And it's clear as day that the member of the church, or the member conducting the business session, has such contempt for the people in front of him, the people of his congregation. There's such contempt there. And it's bizarre. And I think that McLean Bible Church was definitely in the wrong. Certainly in that video that I was able to see in this bizarre business meeting, they were in the wrong for shutting down a point of order and not being willing to hear a point of order. And what the guy wanted was to have have the minutes of the last business meeting read to the congregation. And I guess there's some, again, some parliamentary strategy going on. I'm not that much of a wonk for parliamentary church procedure. But certainly the Southern Baptist Convention of 2021 got me a little bit into that. So it was an odd thing where, this guy's raising a point of order and the congregation, for the most part, seems to agree with him, and they're leaving to kind of prevent a quorum, but it doesn't seem like that works in the end. And again, McLean Bible Church is a mega church in Northern Virginia, which is, a government contractor playground. So, and it's a pretty liberal church under the helm of David Platt. Now, David Platt, I've talked about him before. He was the one who was preaching how it was not sinful for him to shut down his church, but then said, hey, we got to come back to worshiping in person. We can't disobey Scripture and not worship in person. and assemble as a church, even though he deliberately disobeyed Scripture a year prior to delivering that sermon. So that's David Platt. He's a pastor of a state church, and he's also pretty woke. He's pretty liberal. And, people in his congregation apparently really love that church. They really love McLean Bible Church so much that they're actually willing to sue it. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but I actually believe that they're suing out of a place of love. Because, honestly, most people are probably like, I'm getting out of here. I'm leaving McLean Bible Church. They can go woke without me. That's probably the take of most people. I know people that did that when their own churches went woke. And, there's a debate between whether you want to purify the church that you're in or whether you want to be a separatist and separate. That's a debate that I feel like every Christian faces at one point or another in their walk, so it seems. Especially nowadays. You're either going to be a separatist from your church or you're going to try to be a Puritan within your church. And it seems like these people are trying to purify their own church, and they're going to the civil magistrates to help them out because they can't even use their own parliamentary bylaws to save their own church because people like David Platt don't care. They don't care about bylaws. And that's one thing we have to realize with these elites. We can brush up on our bylaws till the roosters crow, but if they don't care about the bylaws and you're not savvy enough to just dominate a situation like a business meeting, you're going to get steamrolled regardless of how well you know parliamentary procedure. We saw that with the annual Southern Baptist Convention where these people got played. They got played on the bylaws where they accepted bad amendments to resolutions, and how specifically they allowed James Merritt to just shut down debate and his cronies to help shut down debate on a resolution that was basically doubling down on the infamous Resolution 9 that affirmed critical race theory as an analytical tool. So, mastering parliamentary procedure is necessary and vital to save a church if you're going to go down the Puritan route. And, if all that fails, I guess the last resort is to break the glass and go to the civil magistrate to get a church to enforce its own bylaws. But again, I'm not sure if that's the right strategy. I'm not super enthusiastic about seeing people sue a church to deal with problems in the church. But I also recognize that these people did not care about the means within the church to deal with the church and church governance. They did not listen to their own congregation. And, I'll link my video sources in the article that I'm going to write about this and link in the description below. But for now, that's all I got to say about this. It's not a good situation. It's ugly. And it shows how bad McLean Bible Church has gotten, especially under the helm of David Platt. And, David Platt was a Big Eva golden boy. He was the head of the International Mission Board, and I don't think he was very good at that job. And then, he resigns from that and gets a megachurch preaching job. And McLean Bible Church just so happens to be the church that was unwise enough to hire him. So, to some degree, they're getting what they've sown. They also have Joe Carter, BuzzFeed Joe Carter, on staff. So, I don't really think there's any hope for saving McLean Bible Church. But, if this is the break the glass moment to try to save the church, I hope you succeed. But, best of luck to you. And I hope you succeed, like I just said. But, consider the cost. So again, that's all I got to say about that for now. My name is Ray. This is the Evangelical Dark Web. If you like this content, subscribe to the channel below. And also check out evangelicaldarkweb.org. Also linked in the description below. Have a blessed day. Comment below what you think about what I think. And I will catch you on the next one.